Greetings, everyone. Dale Parrish, COS Today host, along with Ken Kashuba. I mispronounced Ken's name again earlier, and I want to make sure that I mean, it's only been, 3 years or so since.
It's been longer than that, but that's okay. It's such a hard name to pronounce. I understand.
I don't know what it is. I give. But anyway, thanks to everyone for tuning in this evening. I think we've got a great show for you planned. Before we get started here, I want to show one thing. This is something that we like to always show, and that is saving the country with Convention of States. That's what we try to do here on COS Today, and saving the country with Convention of States. And I don't know about you, Ken, but every day I see more and more evidence where we are the solution to the problem. I tell you,
it's becoming very, very obvious that the way to do it is the way we're.
It is, isn't it? I seriously, I think it is. It is. Yeah. I've got a little something that I want to play here, Ken, that you have put together. We'll skip the Maringo mic thing that we normally do here, since
we could do that later.
Yeah, but Ken put together a what he calls a promo, talking about our program COS Today, and I want to play that. It's not very long, but I think Ken did a great job. And are you putting this out to various platforms and so forth, Ken?
I haven't started to yet. I'm about ready to do it on Facebook, which is one of our largest audiences, as well as some of the other platforms that we have. But yeah, so the object is we would like people to tune in for the live program and not just catch us on the shorts. We love the shorts, and we love people, catching up with us there. But we'd love to have more people actually join us at 7:00 and see what we have to offer on a full program.
Yep. Good. Well, let's let me bring this up and let's play this for everyone.
Sure.
Washington overstep, overspend, and outstay its welcome? Then it's time to tune in to COS Today, Indiana's voice for real constitutional change. Every Monday at 7 p.m., host Dale Parrish and co-host Ken Kashuba break down the biggest issues facing our country, from federal overreach to runaway spending to career politicians who refuse to step aside. This isn't just talk, it's a movement. COS Today dives into the 3 pillars of the Convention of States: limiting federal power, imposing fiscal restraints, and enforcing term limits. Real solutions grounded in the Constitution. If you care about the future of your state, your freedoms, and your voice being heard, this is where the conversation starts. Join the discussion. Get informed. Get involved. COS Today. Find us at American Patriots for Convention of States on YouTube every Monday night at 7 p.m. Because real change starts with you.
Well, I think you did a great job there, Ken.
Well, I think, the final message was the real change starts with you. And so, I mean, I think for each and every one of us who are already involved, that's the message we got a while back. It starts with you. You gotta get off the couch. We used to talk about that all the time. Get off the couch. Stop yelling at the television. Get involved. Do something, because
right.
as you've talked about, and as we've talked about, our children and grandchildren need the Convention of States.
You got it. Very good. Plus the fact I think you took some pounds off of me in that. So
I tried adding some hair too, but that was harder to do.
Oh, you did. Okay. I can't imagine why. All right.
It's all in the lighting, Dale.
It must be. Okay. Well, let's jump into our first segment here, which is the In Focus segment, Ken. And this is one where we bring on some guests and we all talk about what's caught our attention here recently in the news. I mean, there's just nothing going on. It's very hard to find anything to talk about. But of course, I'm not being serious here at all. But let me.
I was just going to say, unless you live in the Grand Canyon and living under a rock, I mean.
That's under a rock someplace, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's bring on our first guest this evening, and this is Miss Susan Lyon. Hello, Susan.
Hello, how are you?
Nice.
Good,
Susan.
good. Susan is the editor of the Indiana COS Indiana newsletter, The Finish Line, and does a fantastic job for us in here in Indiana. So welcome aboard tonight, Susan. Glad to have you.
Thanks, Dale. You looked awfully handsome on that promo.
See now that Ken, that's the kind of feedback I want to hear. Now
That's gonna boost viewership right away at this point.
See, Susan just went up a few notches on my.
She knows just what to say.
She does. She
Oh,
does.
true.
Well, we've got two new individuals to Convention of States, two young men, and I want to start bringing them on here. And this first one is Lyle Knitzer. I got it right, Lyle?
Yeah.
Pretty good. Just briefly, Lyle, tell everybody what you've been involved in with COS and where you're located and what you're doing now, real quickly.
Sure. I'm from Florence, Colorado. I got involved with Convention of States through the leadership internship, leadership launchpad, and right now I'm currently working on some campaigns in some primaries. So it's been a good time.
Good. We're getting a little audio feedback there, I think, aren't we, Ken?
Yeah, maybe cut back a little on your volume, Lyle. I don't know whether it's picking up a bassy sound or what, but it's maybe cut back a little on your volume. It might work better.
Man. Lyle, are you working with the state organization there for Convention of States?
Yes. I'm currently working on getting a blog up and going here in Colorado. I'm working with the person who runs it right now regarding fiscal policy.
Okay. Who's the state director in Colorado?
Frank Vaughn is.
Frank Vaughn.
Yeah.
Frank is has been a guest on our program and is coming up later in June, as a matter of fact. Frank's a good guy. We think highly of him. So glad to have you with us tonight. Let's bring on our next guest, and that's Mr. Ryan Norblitz. Noblett. I'm sorry. I told you I'd mess it up.
And unlike with Ken, you mispronounced mine on the show instead of before the show. But my name is Ryan Noblett. I am from Rock Hill, South Carolina, and this is not my first time meeting Lyle. I was also in the Leaders Launchpad internship program last year into this year, and we were in the same cohort together, so we were on discussion calls quite a lot together. Okay. And I've worked with our state team as well here on legislative stuff. Chris Poyette is our state director here in South Carolina, and we have had a pretty interesting year, and I look forward to maybe sharing a bit about that with you guys.
All right, good. Well, we're always happy to see young people coming into Convention of States, and regardless of what level or where you enter, we need more young men and women in Convention of States. So us old guys, we need young ones. We need young men and women coming in. There's no doubt about that. Well, like I said, in this segment, we talk about what's caught our interest here recently in the news or in the world, however you want to package that. So, Susan, let's start off with you. What's got your attention here?
Well, I got an email about it's from a Life News posting that I get almost daily, and I was really shocked that Canada has, they've approved medically assisted suicide, but I was shocked to hear that the percentage has gone up almost 10% each year, and this year they will have helped over 100,000 people with medically assisted suicide. Wow. And it's already passed in legislature in the United States for several states. And I think that there's a problem with this because, not in Indiana, but they're bringing it to the legislatures, the state legislatures, every year until they get it passed. And they are trying to get it passed on a compassion. It's like, please feel sorry for these people. They have 6 months or less to live. They're in extreme pain. The doctors are willing to help them die. But what is going wrong is that in Canada, the health system, the healthcare system, has pretty much taken hold of this. And people are being killed, basically. Even people who have changed their mind, they've signed the papers to do it, and then changed their mind, they go ahead and kill them. There, one woman who was being cared for by her husband said he was exhausted, and they just went ahead and killed her. So there's, and they're also killing kids under 18 years of age that they shouldn't even be able to make that decision. There's a lot going on with this that's, I don't think making the news, but it's already passed in several states in the United States. They are considering another 15 states this year. Indiana has a no-go policy for this right now. It's considered a felony for a doctor to assist someone in suicide, but it will be coming back every year. And the more states that keep passing this, the more pressure will be upon Indiana, I'm sure, legislators to consider doing this. And I think we need to be vigilant. I really do, because this is being misused, and people are dying that have, mental health issues, depression. It's just there. I think you should do some checking into this, because it almost seems like there is an attack on older people and the wisdom that we might bring. It almost seems as though they're wanting the older people especially to be gone. It felt that way with COVID too, but anyway, I'd like to know what you all think about this.
Do you know how many states have passed that, or where that's legal?
I got one article up that said there were 20 that were already passed, and that 15 were being considered in 2025. Now, I don't know how many of those got passed, but they were saying that it keeps coming back every year. There's a definite lobby pushing for this. And, how many people really need this? I mean, it seems as though there's hospice, they keep you comfortable. I just, I don't understand why there is such a strong push for this.
Yeah. I think if you could find that article, or if you could find like maybe a map of the that would show the states that have passed, or the states where it's in progress, or that'd be kind of interesting, I think, to share with everyone.
Well, I did see that Illinois is the first Midwest state to pass it, of course.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Yeah.
So, I mean, I would have bet money that they would have been the first, because of the influence going on there with their politics. But I will do that. I'm putting out a newsletter, and I will make sure that we get that article in there in the map.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
We'll include it there.
I don't know. Well, of course, Ken and I, we've I'm sure had elderly parents and relatives that those last days were very hard on the family. There's no doubt about that.
I'm curious too, though, how do they get a doctor to be able to do that? I mean, doesn't that go against their oath of helping people live?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question.
How do they keep a license if they've broken their oath?
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. Good question. Well, I'm sure that's got to be addressed some way or another. I mean, that to me sounds like that would be a very, very common argument against it. The doctors, the hypocritical oath, the medical oath. So anyway, very, very interesting. Very good, Susan. Very good. All right. Anything else on that, Susan?
No, I think what I feel about this whole issue is that there's some underlying reason why they're pushing for it. And I don't understand, I don't know if it goes back to the healthcare system not wanting to spend money on
Yeah.
people that are older and they don't want to put out the healthcare cost for them anymore. Or I just don't understand. It just doesn't seem to me that there's that many people that need.
I think.
Go ahead.
I think you're really right on it right there, Susan. Really, if you follow the money trail, it's all about money.
Yeah. I think so too.
Now, who is they? Is this do you think this is strictly a political thing, or do you think it's a medical association some way, American Medical Association, or are there medical organizations pushing this, or is it a political thing?
For me, well, Canadian health system, it's all about insurance, and I mean, they don't want to spend the money to pay for long-term
Oh, okay.
care. And I sort of think that might be the underlying cause here, that maybe the insurance companies are at the base of it, that they don't want to pay out that,
Well, then you got Medicare cost, and
right.
so you could see where it could become political too.
Right. But I hate it that they twist it to make it sound compassionate when really I think it's coming down to.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Interesting topic. I made note of that. Assisted suicide. That's a topic, Ken, we may want to talk about some more.
Yeah, definitely be a deep dive one. There's a lot to get into there for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Lyle, what's on your mind this evening? You're muted.
Recently, I've just been really paying attention to elections, and as I've stated, I've been paying close attention to primaries in other states, specifically candidates who have been endorsed by President Trump. Just seeing how heavy that endorsement weighs. I personally haven't been in 100% agreement with who he's been endorsing myself, but it has been really mind-blowing how much his endorsement has been playing a role in primaries and the results of it. And it'll be interesting to see how it goes into the general election.
He's got a perfect record going, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm. Sure does.
That is you've got to admit, that is impressive, isn't it?
It sure is. It very is. That one endorsement really does help a lot.
Yeah. And apparently doesn't make any difference what level of office that the individual is seeking if they've got that endorsement.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Even at the local level, in like Indiana, how you had that impact with the state senators who didn't vote for the redistricting, like even at the local levels.
Yep. Yeah, my state senator is the only one that survived that ordeal here in Indiana, as a matter of fact. But very interesting. What, you got any predictions on the midterms coming up? What do you think?
I don't feel the same as I did in 24. In 24, I was more cautiously optimistic. I felt like people were just really fed up, and I think they are still today. I just feel like some people are beginning to get frustrated with a lot of things, just maybe not moving fast enough. And I'm also concerned that the same conservative base may not be as motivated to turn out in the midterms. So I'm concerned, but I also think there's a lot more people involved. I have seen it here in Colorado. We have what's called the caucus process here in Colorado. And there are so many people that showed up for the first time that I didn't know. So I'm optimistic in that aspect. I just hope that they stay involved and vote come the midterms, but we'll see.
Colorado is a caucus state.
Yes, we have our caucus system and county assemblies and all that. It's a
Really?
pretty fun process, really.
I wasn't aware of that. I
Mhm.
wasn't aware of that. That's good. Good. Well, of course, you're. Am I right? Colorado is pretty much a Democratic controlled state.
Yeah, the Democrats control the legislature pretty much 2-1, and we don't have currently one statewide office, and our congressional delegation split 4-4. So, and both of our senators are Democrats, so they got a pretty strong hold on the state. But maybe we'll be able to break some gates in November, hopefully.
Well, I know we were talking about this issue before the program started this evening, and Susan has been following this case for some time, and that's Tina Peters.
Mm-hmm.
She did get released
Mm-hmm.
today, as a matter of fact. I think,
Mhm.
wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
June 1st.
So I guess a lot of people are happy about that, huh?
Sure thing. Yep, a lot of people are.
Well, that's great. That's great. That's great. All right. Well, very good. Well, I bet you're working on campaigns and
Mhm.
such. That's pretty interesting. Have you always been interested in doing that?
I have. My first campaign I volunteered for was in 2022 for Colorado 7th District for Eric Odlin. He ran for Congress. He got out of his primary. He did not win. He got defeated by a Democrat Congressman, Brittany Pedersen, who's still the Congresswoman. And then I got involved further in campaigns as I got involved in the Republican Party in 2023. And now I'm working on a state Senate campaign, and sounds like another campaign here soon. So it's really fun. You get to meet a lot of people and you learn a lot. Door knocking, canvassing, phone calls, get to talk to people and have those really good conversations about what people really care about. So it's really fun. And it makes an impact.
Lyle, I know one of the things that National has been pushing for a long time is block walking. Have you done any block walking or any of those things going on out there in Colorado?
I've never heard of that term before.
Ah,
Okay.
well, you have to look it up. Block walking,
Okay.
block walking basically is just a matter of getting a group of people, even one or two people, that get together and canvass a neighborhood. Basically, walk around, talking to people about the three pillars that the Convention of States stands for, and how people feel, and what they think of it. So it's been a program that's been part of Convention of States national program for I think a couple of years now, but something that does very well, to get local people involved.
Okay, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah. I did that a couple of years ago for the Republican Party here in Indiana,
Mhm.
and it's interesting. I mean, you're going up the doors, knocking on doors. You think you got a list here of people that are Republicans, registered Republicans, but they don't always agree with what you're saying. And I'll tell you, you never know what you're going to encounter. But to Ken's point about the block walking in Convention of States, that apparently has been very successful.
Okay.
What I understand that. You're not representing any candidates. You're not talking about a one party versus another party. You're talking to people about
issues. Basically issues, and the surprising part about that is without even representing either party or making any type of political stand on it, you're just talking about the issues, and it's amazing how many people agree with you.
Right.
And at the very end of it, it's like they agree totally with what you're saying. And if you were to ask them, and I don't know whether many people do this or not, but many people ask them, well, how do you normally vote? A lot of them turn out to be Democrats.
Talking about the issues makes an impact, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Lyle, are you in school, or have you finished school? Or
I am in my second year at Colorado State University Pueblo, and I'm a political science major.
That kind of figures. All right. Yeah. Well, good luck to you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on tonight.
Yep, I appreciate it. Thank you.
And hopefully you'll consider coming back again.
I'm sure I will.
I'm going to be adding to you and the next guest, Ryan. I'm going to be adding you to my monthly email list for participants. So we'll welcome you to come back again another time.
That'd be great.
All right, Ryan Norblitz.
Noblette.
Noblitz.
It's really funny because most people put the B in my first name and you put the R in my last name, so it's really funny.
All right.
Anyway, my name's Ryan, and there are a couple things that have caught my attention because the redistricting battles have been a thing for a while, and everyone talks about Virginia, because
Right.
they passed this big map and all this happened, and then it got overturned by the Supreme Court. A little more quietly, though, there's been a redistricting battle here in South Carolina. That's my home state, so of course I'm interested in what happens here at home, and that's the only thing I'm following. Being active with Convention of States, where our legislation is something we've been following, and it's actually got an interesting story to it. But I'll start with the redistricting because it gives you an idea of just how fast a legislature can move when they want to. I mean, it can take years to get something done, but when they actually want to move it, the idea was to redistrict South Carolina to make all 7 congressional districts Republican. Right now, obviously, you heard about the Louisiana Supreme Court case about racial gerrymandering and redistricting, and South Carolina looked at that and said, well, why don't we try to redistrict Jim Clyburn out of his seat? And so that's what they tried to do. May 7th, it was introduced, and May 13th, it got out of committee, and it passed the House the next week. And one thing that is notable about this whole thing is that the House is generally like the state legislature is normally like a Tuesday to Thursday, occasionally some Friday business. They don't normally go into chambers on Friday, and they almost never Saturday. They were this time. And
that's pretty fast. I tell you, that is really fast.
This was their focus. Well, I think it was the 19th. It was being debated. It passed on the 20th, and that was a Wednesday. And the 21st, that next Thursday, already of Senate chair. Basically, right, Senate chair. Well, it actually stopped it because the Senate was working on it, and it had gotten a second reading on the 23rd. That was the Saturday before Memorial. What happened is early, so we have a couple weeks early voting for our primaries. Our primaries are June 9th. And the plan in this resolution was going to be to hold off on the congressional primary push. The way it really started gave in to the who were opposed to the redistricting effort in the Senate to basically continue the bill. That they basically killed it. So they're not going to do it. So with that being said, and the primary in full swing, basically we have election season here. It's a couple of weeks and then the primary day. The redistricting measure died, but it came within like a day or two of actually passing. I mean, if Memorial Day hadn't been that Monday, it might have passed. I mean, you never know. And so it was pretty crazy to think about it because we have a supermajority in the Senate and it passed the House with like 77 votes. So there's a really good shot that if the primary early voting hadn't started, it might have actually passed the Senate and happened. And which brings us to 3558. It's another thing we were hoping to get moved, and it basically sat for an entire year. It had been passed through the House along with a couple of other Article 5 bills that got put through, not ours. Ours passed in 23. The other 2 Article 5s were actually pulled to the Senate floor by the Senate Majority Leader in last year, 2025. One of them passed then, one of them passed this year. And we were thinking our bill was basically dead, and we were basically resigned to the fact that 3558, our 34 ready bill, that it wasn't going to happen. And then in basically the last week of session, it got out of Senate Judiciary. It got amended in the Senate. It passed the Senate. It passed the House. To give you an idea of how uncontroversial this bill was, it passed the Senate with a vote of 38-2 and the House with a vote of something like 87-21.
Wow.
And the governor vetoed it. So we are the first state with 34 ready that the governor has vetoed, but it's not over yet. I think they're coming back in June, and one of the things that they can do in a sine die session, which is a special session they do usually for budgetary things, but they can address governor's vetoes. So there's a chance that it might still pass. At this point, we have no idea. But Ryan, we are the first state.
For the sake of our viewers, can you very, very briefly tell everybody what 34 Ready is about?
Certainly. So 34 ready is basically, we've passed Article 5. Now, what happens when we actually call a convention? State legislatures in charge of the commissioners to a convention, all good and proper, but how do they actually control the commissioners? 34 ready is basically saying we want to be ready for when 34 states have passed and a convention is called. We want this framework in place for how a state's legislature is going to govern the commissioners and what authorities they have and how all that works, so that when a convention is called, they're not having to scramble to pass something to prepare. We're already ready.
Yeah, this is something that we're trying to get passed in all state legislatures. So that'd be very, very important when the time comes when the convention gets called. So very, very important. So Ryan, are you? Do you spend a lot of time at the State House there in South Carolina?
Well, I don't drive myself, but I've gone down about 6 times this year. I've gone down to 10 settings, testified once on backing parental rights bill and there's student privacy bill. The student privacy bill passed. The parental rights bill died in Senate Judiciary this year, and was also following bill. Some other people, and I went down to the state about 6-7 times this year. Times for hearings, a couple times for press conferences, a couple times to go talk to legislators, try to talk to their offices, and I've been down there. I'll also read bills, so I can go through and read them, and the legalese don't intimidate me, so I actually don't mind doing that. And I enjoy the legislative process, so I've been paying a lot of attention to legislative stuff this year, and so the fact that this 3558, or 34 ready, I'll just say that, so the bill number 34 ready is still ongoing. We don't know where this is going to go. It could end up that we have to go back in next session and do it, or it could get the veto overridden and it could pass this year. We have no idea right now.
Well, I tell you, your interest and knowledge of the legislative process in your state, that you're going to become very, very valuable to the state team there in South Carolina. I will say that. Are you in school or what is your?
I graduated from Winthrop University here in my hometown of Rock Hill, South Carolina, last May in 2025. I work for the House of Representatives at the federal level as a contractor doing accessibility testing for websites. So I test them to make sure that they're accessible for screen reader users like myself. And I wanted to get involved with Convention States because, one, I enjoyed what the organization stands for. I like that. I like the local focus as well with, not just being a fully national thing, but with a lot of local focus. And I need experience to actually go into, like Lyle, I was a political science major myself, but, I need to actually get some on the ground experience, and Convention States has been a great place for me to do that. And I'm fully supporting with, I'm fully on board with everything that Convention States is doing. And our South Carolina team is terrific. Chris Poyette is our state director. She's done a great job. Yeah. And I'm very happy with everyone I've gotten to meet and know over the year on the South Carolina team. So
good for you. Good for you. Well, I'm really, really happy to see both Ryan and Lyle on with us tonight. Ken, I'm very impressed with these two individuals. I think they're gonna be very helpful to our organization. So,
yeah, I agree. We've run into a number of good solid youth that have basically have the country and basically a lot of what we're doing at Convention of States supported, and it's just good to see young people getting involved.
That includes Susan too. Susan's a young person. So.
Of
Thanks.
course.
Hey guys, do you mind if I ask Brian a question?
Go ahead.
Sure.
Ryan, what excuse does your governor give for vetoing that 34 ready?
It's really, really funny because this is something that was talked about amongst some of the people, but apparently his reason is something like, oh, well, the convention isn't ready to happen yet, and this isn't a big priority. Never mind the fact that it passed with overwhelming support. It literally cost the government no money. I don't know where his logic is. I will say, just on a political level, Henry McMaster is outgoing. He is not running for governor. We have a huge governor's race going on right now. Two members of Congress are in it. One of them is polling better than the other one, but 2 of them are in it. His lieutenant governor is running, Pam Yvette. She's the lieutenant governor of South Carolina. She's running. Ralph Norman, Nancy Mace are running. They're the congressman involved, but he's on his way out, so he may not. You know, a lot of people when they're lame ducks and they're leaving, they may not necessarily care anymore, and you know, it's not as big of a deal in that sense. That could be part of it. I don't really understand his logic in the sense of, well, just because, you know, we're not going to have a convention right now doesn't mean we can't go ahead and take care of this. I don't understand the logic. So
Right. Interesting.
Thank you.
Good question, Susan.
Yeah, good question. Good question. All right, Ryan, thank you very much. And I hope you and Lyle, again, I hope both of you agree to come back on with us again in the future. Enjoyed having you this evening. Ken, what's on your mind, bud?
Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about what we've all kind of seen some awakeness coming on due to the wokeness that we've experienced in the past, 4 or 5 years that basically has been a real concern in our education system, as well as, you know, really getting involved in the entertainment section of our country, and it all affects our younger kids and grandchildren. I think we're seeing a reverse pattern on wokeness. I think woke is on its way out, which is a good thing. The thing I'm going to talk about tonight that kind of hits the entertainment side of things is bad news for the big company that's been behind a lot of that, and it happens to be Disney. Now, Disney has it's official that a couple of their movies that have come out have reached a 72% collapse. At least that's the movies Mandalorian and Grogu, if I'm pronouncing that one right, Grogu. But they already broke the first week out record, and they're now in line to break the second week record for the worst opening since the woke Gestapo took over that franchise. So now the Mandalorian and Grogu broke the second record, and they are on track. Basically, let me look at the numbers here. They're on track. Their second weekend gross will land at right about 23 million, which will put its 10-day gross at around 135 million. So the Mandalorian will be lucky to cross 175 to 200 million dollars domestically. That doesn't include any foreign figures, but we'll see what happens once those numbers come out. But it looks like even with those, 450 to 500 million is the likely break-even number. So yeah, Disney's groomers are looking at a massive loss. So who's Disney going to blame for this? They're going to blame the fans. I think in the past, you know, they even Star Wars fans love different portions of the movies that were a little bit on the homosexual side, or you know, in that area, that those movies still did well. But I think Disney can really just blame itself. And there's still two people on the top of this that basically you can look at backgrounds as the Kathleen Kennedy is a person that she's got a very bizarre and anti-creative obsessions with race and sexuality, and they basically warn people down, you know, with this approach and this wokeness, and basically, you know, that's where I'm seeing results that the American people are just fed up with it. You know, we've had enough of it. And it's starting to show up at the box offices, where usually the movies do really well. I mean, at this point, people continue to go to the movies. To have this show up, I think it points to a sign that we generally are, you know, I think it's the wokeness is sort of worn out its welcome. And I think at this, people are catching on. So these big companies like Disney, they have to find a different way to do things, or change the direction, change some people that are in charge of these things. But that caught my focus today. I've got a couple of grandchildren, and what they go to see at the movies concerns me. Just like we talked about this a couple weeks ago with ratings and so on. I think maybe if we add an anti-woke message or something in there, or a woke message that people will be aware whether they need to go see a movie. But it seems to be working out on its own.
You don't think bringing Mickey Mouse back is a possible answer to this, or?
I don't think Mickey ever left. I don't think Mickey and Minnie ever left. And thank goodness at this point they haven't created, Mickey and Minnie's son who turns out to be trans.
Right. That
could be the next thing they try, but
that could be.
At this point, like I said, I think we're seeing some signs in America that the people that are level-headed, common sense, and are out trying to work every day and do what's right, go to church on the weekends. I think that's coming back. We see young people, young males returning to church. We see a lot of this stuff that just saying, we've had enough of this, and it's pretty much black and white. If you look at biology, and you stop talking about 6 million different genders, or things that you can do, and I'm tired of even the forms that you have to fill out. I always get down to the bottom of a form and it says, what pronouns do you go by? What pronouns do I go by? Well, so I think the pronouns I go by are conservative, and why do you ask? So.
Well, yes, times have changed. I grew up with Disney and Mickey Mouse and Davy Crockett and Spin and Marty and the Mickey Mouse Club. I mean, that's how old I am.
Yeah, I agree, and I think even Bambi took a big hit with some people at one point. That was cruelty or something. They wanted to not show Bambi anymore. So. I think all those people are just, at this point being shown that what they've been promoting and trying to push ideology through the entertainment industry and other areas. I think it's to a point where a large portion of America is waking up to it and saying, no more of this. Let's get back to some common sense.
Yeah. All right. Good, Ken.
Hey, Ken, can I say something?
Sure.
Okay, so this is like a huge case that went to court with Gina Carano, who was one of the major stars of the Mandalorian show, and they fired her for her conservative values. And she said, "I'm going to sue you." And they said, "Good luck, good luck with that." Well, it turned out that Elon Musk took an interest in her case, and he said, "We're going to go all the way with this, and I'm paying for it for you."
I did hear that.
Just wrong,
I did hear that, yeah.
To a private settlement that she won the case, and they will have to give her work in the future.
Wow.
And and of course it's kept secret exactly what the terms were, but she's had a bunch of compensation for all of the pay that she lost because they fired her. They got taught a big lesson in that, but still, they need some more. And I guess the people not turning out to see this is another lesson, that it's going to be a hard lesson for them to learn, but
that's true. And thanks for that, Susan. I think the other thing, and we've talked about this quite a while ago on the program. We've talked about filmmakers like Angel Films and a lot of these other Christian-based filmmakers that are becoming more accessible, and certainly people are starting to view those types of films. And I think the pressure. It's a slow pressure in Hollywood, but I think we're even starting to see some results of that in the industry, and it's always been such a I mean, it's a powerhouse. When you look at entertainment and movies, it's things that, I mean, let's face it, there are things that in both music and the movie industry that stick. They're very powerful. So, you know, what message is portrayed in the entertainment industry? And again, these giants like Disney and what have you, that just kind of went off the, I mean, I'm sure Walt Disney turned over in his grave a million times already. You would never see this coming out of Disney if Walt was current. So yeah, it's good to and what you're talking about, you don't read much about it. It's just not, it doesn't reach most of the mainstream media.
Right.
All right, guys, we gotta wrap this up. One of the things that's caught my interest this particular week is the Trump accounts that they've announced. I think these are great. I think this is a great idea. I know there's 401ks and there's other types of programs out there, but those are primarily retirement accounts. These Trump accounts are designed for the very young children of this country, and I think and if the child was born after January 1 of 2025 up until 2028, then the government's kicking in $1,000 to the account. So I'm learning more and more about these accounts. I think they're great. And because I have 3 great grandchildren that are very, very young that I would like to see get involved in these accounts. So I think this is a very good program, and the purpose, of course, is for these young people to build a nest egg, and so that this money would become available to them once they reach the adult age. And I think that's a good thing. So want to follow this more and learn more about them. So that's it for tonight, guys. Excuse me. Ryan, Lyle, thank you for coming on tonight, and hope to see you again. You're welcome back anytime. And Susan, as you know, you're always welcome. So everyone, thank you very much for participating tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dale.
Okay, and there was another great segment. Another great segment. Very good.
Interesting topics, and certainly it was good to hear from our from our 2 young gentlemen that basically are so invested in politics in their area. South Carolina, Colorado, we need them both. We need them both.
Mm-hmm.
So
definitely do. Well, Kent, let's move on. And I'd like to, before we get into our next segment, excuse me, I'm sorry, been fighting off a cold here, and I'm still have some lingering cough. But anyway, John Ackerman has gotten on his soapbox again, and let's take a listen and look at what's on John's mind this evening on the soapbox. So let's take a listen.
sounds good.
Well, what's happening here, Kim?
English language and literature at Yale.
Okay, let's start this over again, all right? Okay, we'll try it again.
For Convention of States. Thomas Lounsbury was professor of English language and literature at Yale. He is credited with saying, and I quote, "We must view with profound respect the infinite capacity of the human brain to resist the inroads of useful information." Hear that again. We must view with profound respect the infinite capacity of the human brain to resist the inroads of useful information. Sadly, I saw this in the flesh during the recent Indiana primary election. I served as a poll worker and encountered what Rush Limbaugh famously called low information voters. Mind you, the purpose of the primary is for the political parties to choose their nominees for the general election in November. The Democrats choose their nominees, and the Republicans choose theirs. Therefore, when a voter signs in, they declare a party, and they receive either a Democrat ballot or a Republican ballot. And it's been that way since, the late 1800s. After the voter checked in, I was one of the poll workers who took them to the machine and showed them how it worked. My final comment to a voter was, if you have any questions or problems, just ask. I'm here to help. And more than once, a voter called out to me and asked, how do I vote a straight ticket? Everyone on that ballot is in the party that you chose when you checked in. And then again, more than once, a voter told me that the candidates' parties aren't showing. Everyone on that ballot is in the party you chose when you checked in. These people did not understand that they were voting in the primary, that the purpose of the primary was for them to help choose their party's nominees for the general election. Talk about low information voters. And I'm torn. On the one hand, I commend these people for voting. Only about 17% of eligible voters turned out in my county's primary. So it's a good thing that they were voting. But I shudder to think that people who didn't even know that they were voting in the primary and that all of the candidates were in the party they chose when they checked in. This is cause for concern. Low information voters. I highly doubt that they even studied the candidates and even knew who they were voting for. So I close with the same words that I opened with from Thomas Lounsbury. We must view with profound respect the infinite capacity of the human brain to resist the inroads of useful information.
Well, once again, you wonder. I mean, what he says holds so much truth. They don't recognize half the names that are in there. They don't even know which people they're voting for. So what's it come down to? The amount of blue or red signs they counted on the way in, the latest cringy looking ad they saw on television that spoke half truths.
Yeah.
You know, this is where money leads people in the wrong direction. And if people would just would just do a little more research on who they're talking about. I know there's and we just had Susan on here a little bit ago. I don't know whether Susan is still around. Susan, if you are, pop back up into the channel. Let me bring her on a minute, Dale, because she was involved in a website that would be very beneficial. Susan, if you could give us a little information about what we have talked about in the past with the websites that you've been working on, so people can actually go and see what people actually are for and what they're against.
Yeah, we have a website in Indiana called Indiana-candidates-2026 at I believe it's handled.team. And it was set up to help us before the primary to vote and to know our candidates more in depth. And it pulled all the information together in one place for us. And I complained that I had to go all around to each candidate and do the research and all of that. So my friend helped hook us up with a really nice website that scanned all the internet for all of the information about their voting record and their platform, basically, that they stood by. And, you know, a picture of them and how long they had served, where they had served before, where they stood on the bills that were up for, being passed. And it was really helpful, I thought.
This is regardless of party.
Yeah, it was not what I would call nonpartisan, but it was set up to basically show us their position on constitutional issues and family values. So it
Okay.
didn't say, okay, are they for or against, or, does it please one party or the other? It was just, where did they stand on these type of issues, so that we would know. And it broke it down. It was really helpful, I think. So that type of thing is possible. And, Ryan was talking about using, the system to help him learn about what was going on at the State House and all of that. We've got, ways now to tell what's in a bill pretty quickly. It can scan it for you if you ask it to search for certain words or a change from like one, like when it's printed out, like let's say in, early in the time when they present the bill, and then how at the last minute they'll bring a big bill and expect them to read it in 48 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
You scan that document and say, is there any change? And it'll tell you, it'll pick it right out within minutes. And so there's a lot of tools now that are being used that are helping us gather information a lot more quickly than we were able to in the past, which is going to be a good thing for
Right.
keeping track of these, be gatekeepers of the legislatures, basically.
So Susan, obviously this is an Indiana based website, but could you give us that again one more time? I want to type it and put it into the chat for at least the local or the state Indiana people can check this out. It's
Indiana hyphen candidates hyphen 2026 at handled.team.
Could you spell that last part?
Handled, meaning HANDLED, like we've got it handled.
Dot org, correct?
No, .team.
Team.
.team, yeah.
Okay.
And
that's going to go into the chat.
That's the company that, my friend has this company. He did it for me. It's handled.team is their company. So
Gotcha.
He built it for me. But he did it real quickly, and I think every state should have this. Honestly, I would love to see it on a national database, honestly.
That sounds very very helpful, very important.
Yeah. And we've got a friend that lives out on the West Coast, and they say, well, we get things in the mail and it tells us, where they stand. And, you get a lot of that stuff in the mail.
Yeah.
And you can track. And when you get to go vote, are you going to remember it all? Or, I don't know. I just like a one place to be able to go and learn everything. And they can also search it down to the lowest level, the judges, the school board, the county council, city council, whatever. They can drive it down as far as you need to go for the candidates, to even for local elections. So it's pretty awesome what they're capable of.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks, Susan. Thanks.
Susan.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot, but you did well. I knew you knew that well, so appreciate it.
No, glad to help. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Ken. Well, Ken, time for another Meet the Founders episode. I caught up with Larry Hudson, who is doing this series, and ready to do episode number 5 on Sam Adams. So let me bring up what I got recorded with him.
Sounds good.
Well, greetings, everyone. We're back again here with Larry Hudson on our Meet the Founders series, and we're going to pick up here with episode number 5 on Sam Adams. So it's been, as usual, been very interesting, and I hope you'll find this next episode as interesting as the previous 4. So let me bring on Larry and we'll get started. Hi, Larry.
Dale, how are you tonight?
Good to see you. Good to see you. Larry and I have had some technical problems this past week, but and it turns out it was me. I was the problem. So anyway, we've got it straightened out, I think, so we're ready to go. So Larry, here we are ready to pick up from where we left off last time. And as I remember, Washington has been elected unanimously to become the commander-in-chief of the newly formed Continental Army. And it was on the nomination and the second of John Adams and Sam Adams, respectively.
Right.
I think you also mentioned that the Battle of Bunker Hill was right on the heels of all this. Is that right?
That's correct. Actually, real close, like a month apart. And I think many historians, anyway, that I've read, consider Bunker Hill the other bookend, if you will, to the 2 previous battles that we have discussed previously. That's Lexington and Concord. And so together, those 3 battles were the trigger that propelled the colonies into the Revolutionary War. I think it's a couple of months, as we said, after the Battle of Concord. I think that was in June that the Battle of Bunker Hill took place. And Bunker Hill, just a bit north of Boston. Adams and Cousin John and even John Hancock, who we've mentioned sometime, are back in Philadelphia, and they're attending the Second Continental Congress.
Okay.
Which convened, I think, it was in the spring, late spring, May, I think, when it convened. Continental Army, as you mentioned, has been formed. Washington, the commander-in-chief, selected. He's on his way to Boston, and he's going to stop, I think, in Cambridge and start forming that army, if you will. And remember, the British forces, under, I think it's Lord Admiral Howe and General Thomas Gage, they're cooped up in Boston, surrounded actually, and under siege right now by the militia from several colonies under the command of General Artemus Ward. You remember Artemus Ward was one of those in consideration for the commander-in-chief job of the Continental Army, and Washington won that, or was elected to that unanimously. But Artemus Ward's got the Brits holed up in Boston, and Bunker Hill is just north of Boston, and that's where the battle takes place. It's basically on Breed's Hill, but the name's Bunker Hill survives. I'm not sure why. It was ultimately a victory for the British, but it came at a terrible price. They suffered more casualties than did the militia during this battle, and they lost a whole host of officers. So they lost a lot of leadership in this battle. And if the Americans hadn't run out of ammunition and been forced to retreat, the battle probably would have gone the other way. So it was considered a Pyrrhic victory at the very least.
Yeah, I think you mentioned this before. The Continental Army was really just a group of various militias, right? And at this point, Washington had just taken over, but at this point, we're talking about just an assortment of different militias from different colonies and so forth. So.
Yeah, that's right. There was no Continental Army per se. These were all Minutemen, if you will, militias, standing Minutemen armies that the colonies, actually different towns had these militias, not just they served in the colony.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I see in your notes that while it was nearly a victory for the Patriots, it was a terrible blow for Sam Adams. Since he wasn't involved in the fighting, what do you mean by a terrible blow?
Well, while the American casualties were fewer in number, their losses did include a key figure. Adams, I think it was probably his dearest friend, certainly a cohort back in the Boston Tea Party days, the Boston Sons of Liberty. Dr. Joseph Warren was killed in this battle. Warren, it turns out, he'd been commissioned a major general in the Massachusetts militia, and for some reason, I'm not determined why. I don't know that anybody will ever know. He insisted on fighting as a private and not as a general officer in that battle. So he went to the earthworks where everybody was located, and because he wasn't experienced in military affairs or in military tactics, he fought basically as a private, not in uniform, if you will. And he chose, during that battle, there were 3 assaults the British made. And in the final assault, they carried the day, and he chose to stay in position while the Patriots began an ordered retreat. And as it turns out, he was recognized by someone and shot. Supposedly it was a British officer who recognized him, shot him in the head. He died instantly. And several accounts of this battle and some pictures have been painted that are quite famous. But they indicated that his body was stripped, bayoneted multiple times. His body was pretty much mutilated, thrown into a shallow grave with another dead patriot who'd been killed alongside him. And he was just 34 years of age. So you might remember him from our last episode. He was a co-planner with Adams in the Boston Tea Party effort. And he's the one that sent Paul Revere to warn Adams and Hancock in Lexington. And he's also the guy who, at Adams' request, drafted what were called the famous Suffolk Resolves that we'll talk about, I think, maybe here in a minute. But interestingly, I read just not too long ago on that very battle, Major Pitcairn, and if you recall that name, he led the forces, the Brits, at the Battle of Lexington, and then later at Concord. He was killed in this battle. And he was killed apparently by a black militiaman by the name of Salem. And you might remember we discussed, I think, at the Battle of Lexington, there was a black militiaman who was seriously wounded by the name of Estabrook. Yeah. So I found that interesting that Pitcairn met his death later on at just 2 months later in the Battle of Bunker Hill. He was killed by a black militiaman.
Very interesting. Well, now remind me just what the Suffolk, is that how you pronounce it?
Suffolk, Massachusetts.
Resolves were about and what impact they had.
Well, they were drafted by Warren. He was evidently a learned guy. He was a doctor, and Adams considered him a rival draftsperson, an author, a writer, if you will. So he requested, while he was in the Congress, in the First Continental Congress, to write the Suffolk Resolves, which were basically, rather than try and remember them, I'll go to my notes here and read them. They consisted of about basically 6 articles. They first of all, and this is for the colony of Massachusetts, not the entire colonial organization. This is just Massachusetts now. It rejected the Massachusetts Government Act, which, if you remember, that closed the port of Boston, and it also implemented a boycott of all imported goods from Britain and curtailed all exports to Britain. And then 3, it demanded resignations of all royally appointed positions within the colony. And then it refused the payment of any taxes. And it supported a colonial government with no royal authority in the colony. And then the last and very important point was it urged all colonies to raise militias for the protection of the colony against the usurpers, as they were called, the occupiers from Great Britain. So they were recognized by many as a major development in the basically the catalyst, if you will, that led to the adoption of the Declaration of Independence.
I was going to say these sounded like pretty significant. I don't know, whatever you want to call them, resolves. Quite significant, seemed to me. Yeah.
Yeah, they were the first to promote across the board non-compliance within the colonies,
right,
against British governmental authority, and they really started the American Revolution that came the very next year.
All right. Okay, let's move on here then.
Yeah.
Okay, the war essentially started then in April 1775 at Lexington,
right,
and Concord. The Second Continental Congress established the Continental Army, and Washington is put in charge as commander-in-chief. Where do we find Sam Adams, and what is he about?
Well, Adams, it's 1776 now. Right. Adams is 54 years old. He is in the Second Continental Congress. He's Washington. Let me go back just a little bit here. The British have bombarded Norfolk, and Washington is in the New York campaign with his ragtag, the beginnings of his Continental Army, and he's losing. And Adams is in the Second Continental Congress, and he brought up the idea of a confederation for the colonies to band together to oppose the British. But there was no real support in that Congress. And about the same time, Thomas Paine came along, if you recall, and he wrote Common Sense.
Right.
It was a pamphlet. It was published, I think he published it anonymously in Philadelphia, but it was an instant success. It sold, I think, over 120,000 copies in the first 3 months of its publication, distribution. And it had a real, I guess you could call it a profound effect, really, on turning public opinion in favor of independence. It didn't do that much magic in the Congress, but it did with the people. So Adams, he takes advantage of this, and he starts writing a variety of articles under pseudonyms so that it wouldn't come back to him in support of Paine's arguments. So Jefferson, Franklin, and Sam's cousin John, you'll recall, work on the Declaration of Independence, and Sam Adams is assigned to a committee to discuss a confederation of the colonies, which is his idea. And his work, of course, will ultimately lead to the Articles of Confederation, which is what governed the colonies initially after the war.
Okay, all right. So Sam Adams wasn't involved with writing the Declaration of Independence, but he was instrumental in drafting the Articles of Confederation. Am I right?
That's exactly right. Not involved in the Declaration of Independence, but he didn't write it, but he drafted much of it, the Articles of Confederation. Some of his early drafts contained things that survived into what we have now in our Constitution, which promoted state sovereignty. I think he had the one state, one vote system that we use in our Article 5 convention. That was a Sam Adams idea. Equal representation. He was all for a firm league of friendship. He opposed a unified nation. Okay, he was not a federalist. You're going to find out that Sam Adams was an anti-federalist. He believed in a strong states' rights, but a league of friendship. And of course, that becomes a problem and will lead to our Constitutional Convention in 1787, a number of years later. As I said, I think earlier, John Adams was assigned to the Declaration of Independence drafting, and Jefferson and Franklin, and things really start to move forward in June of '76 when I think it was Richard Henry Lee of Virginia introduced a resolution that was to dissolve all political connections with Britain. And towards the end of that, there was a contentious close debate in the Congress. And it was Adams who apparently gave one of his best speeches. It was titled On American Independence. And he made a very strong case that continued British rule was just, it's just not possible, it was untenable. And that speech apparently brought around a number of delegates who were wavering or were holding out. Turns out that resolution just passed by one vote. And so it turned out to be what we call the Declaration of Independence today, drafted, primarily by Thomas Jefferson. And Sam Adams wound up signing the document. He signed at the very top of the document under the delegates from Massachusetts. His cousin was signing right underneath him. One author, I read where one author was quoted as saying, among the delegates to that Second Continental Congress, Adams by far had worked the longest towards the Declaration of Independence, basically for about 20 years. And many historians, I think, feel that Adams was the most influential man in both First and Second Continental Congresses, and that Thomas Jefferson, got a quote here someplace from Jefferson. Let me find it. Sam Adams, let me find it here. Oh, he's quote, so rigorously logical was Adams, so clear in his views, abundant in good sense, and a master always of his subject. He just worked and worked and worked, if you will, towards the Declaration of Independence and separation from Great Britain. Just wasn't in favor of a unified or central government that we wound up with. He's reported to have said that, I think when the final draft of the Declaration came out, it was the culmination of his life's work. And he now reached the whole object of his life.
Interesting. Okay. All right, Larry. Well, we're winding down on our time here once again.
Yep, I see we are.
You're really keeping good track of time now, I'll tell you. So where do we go from here? Adams has supported Washington as a commander-in-chief, prompted the Suffolk resolves, helped draft the Articles of Confederation, was the driving force in convincing many to support breaking allegiance with the mother country that led to the formal Declaration of Independence, of which we promptly signed. Where do we go? Where are we going to go from here?
He's going to retire from Congress, return to Massachusetts, and he'll be elected, I think, when he gets there shortly. He wants to retire, but politics is a draw for him. He'll be elected to the state Senate in Massachusetts, serving as its president, as I recall, for the first 2 years that he's in the Senate. We'll see him at the ratifying convention for the newly drafted U.S. Constitution. We'll find that he's an anti-federalist. He's not in favor of the final document. He does sign it, but he has reservations. And later on, we'll see him serve as the lieutenant governor of Massachusetts under John Hancock. They patch, if you will, their differences of opinion that we'll talk a little bit about. And he'll ultimately be elected governor of that state and serve a number of terms. They're one-year terms at that point in time. And then he'll retire and suffer a tremor, and basically leaves him disabled for the rest of his life. And he'll die, I think, in the early 80s, in the age of 82.
Well, that's a long life for men of that period of time. So
Yeah, he's a little older than. He's not as old as Franklin, obviously, but he's a little older than John, his cousin, and Hancock, and some of the others that are prominent in our founding. But he's not in the best of health.
right. All right, Larry. Well, that's a wrap then. You think maybe one more episode to wrap it up, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Well, I
so
think one more ought to do it.
One more, episode number 6 coming up, folks. Well, once again, Larry, very interesting. Thank you for your work.
Yep, I enjoy it, and we'll see you next time.
We'll see you.
I had an interesting, well, that's a rabbit trail, but I had an interesting little, I just found out about it last week. Paul Revere was a dentist as well as a silversmith.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And Paul Revere, I told you Warren is killed at the Battle of Bunker Hill.
Yeah.
He was thrown into this shallow grave, and shortly after that battle, people went out and watched this battle. Abigail Adams watched this battle from her home. Okay, that was just north of Boston, a few miles, and they dug up and recovered Warren's body, but it was so mutilated, and there was another body with it, that Paul Revere was called upon to identify the body. And Paul Revere was a dentist, and he compared his dental work in Warren's mouth and a walrus tooth that he had put in place, and he became what they call him here. He's often credited as America's first forensic dentist. Paul Revere. You thought he only rode horses and was a spy.
Yeah, this is a rabbit hole, folks. This is
rabbit holes. I like rabbit holes.
All right, Larry. Thank you very much, bud. Thank you.
Take care.
Once again, a great episode from Larry Hudson, and we'll be back with you in the very near future to do episode number 6. So, thank you, folks. Have a good evening. Well, can you hear me, Ken?
I can hear you. The things we learned from Larry, and I'm looking at Elgato.
Yeah, that's my. That is my camera.
Did your camera go on the fritz?
It's kind of looking that way. It appears to be on. I don't understand
what happened here, huh? Well, you're making things very interesting now, Dale, as I talk to Elgato instead of Dale Parrish.
I'm trying to push some buttons here. I'm trying to
yeah. All right. Well, this will be an interesting short when this all turns out.
Oh goodness!
I don't know what to tell you, but this always makes for some interesting live streaming. So,
well, let's move on here real quick.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, Ken, were you drafted?
I actually had a very low draft number. I was 54, and I was in college my freshman year. And I was actually due to report to the draft board in a week, and Nixon ended the war. So they sent me a kind little letter and said, "Don't bother coming in."
Well, I was drafted in 65.
Yeah, okay.
65.
Yeah.
I was drafted. Yeah. Anyway, I did a little piece here. I'm going to play it. I did a little piece here on a report that I heard about Trump bringing the draft back. Okay, so I want to play that here. Okay.
Sure.
Greetings, everyone. Recently I heard a news report. Actually, it was just a comment that was made on a news report, and the comment was that Trump was going to reinstall the draft later this year. And that really caught my attention because in 1966, I was drafted. So I grew up with the draft, and as a matter of fact, did actually get drafted in 1966. So I wanted to look into this a little bit more because I had not heard anything about this, but I wanted to find out if this is true or not. So I put together a little presentation on what's really happening, and I hope you'll find it interesting. I put together a little PowerPoint here, and so I want to go through it here. Headline versus reality. Well, recent headlines and social media discussions created confusion by suggesting that President Trump had reinstated the military draft. In reality, there is currently no active draft in the United States. The selective service system still exists as a standby system.
There we go.
Yes, Ken. Changes relate primarily to registration procedures. What did you want? What did you want?
Well, your PowerPoint wasn't showing, so I added it to the stage and it shows. So go ahead, just keep on going.
Mandatory military service. So let's keep going a little bit further on this. So what is the selective service? So the selective service system is a federal program designed to support a draft if Congress and the president ever determine one is necessary during a national emergency. Men between ages 18 and 25 are required by law to register. Registration itself does not mean a person is entering military service. Now, back in my day, of course, that was it was mandatory, but it was up to you to voluntarily make sure that you were registered. So I remember that being the situation that I had to actually take the action myself. Well, what has changed? Recent defense legislation modernized how eligible individuals are registered with the selective service system. Government databases may now assist in automatically registering eligible men. This administrative change has contributed to public confusion, but does not activate a military draft. Now, here's a very important question in today's time. I know this was not a question in my time, but it is a question in today's time. Are women included? Women currently are not required to register with selective service system. However, women may voluntarily serve in all military positions, including combat roles. Some lawmakers believe this means women should also be included in the selective service registration, while others oppose expanding the requirement. Congress has debated the issue several times, but no law has changed the current male-only registration requirement. Could a draft return? Yeah, sure. While no draft is active today, the legal framework still exists if the nation faced a severe military emergency. Any return of the draft would require congressional approval and presidential authorization. The United States currently relies on an all-voluntary military service. So why are people talking about this? Well, several factors have fueled public discussion, including global conflicts, of course, tensions involving major world powers, some military recruiting shortages, although I think while we had shortages in the prior administration, I think we're on track much better situation now. But there may be some recruiting shortages. Social media, of course, sensational headlines often blurred the distinction between updating registration procedures and actually bringing back mandatory service. So, what's the bottom line here? The key takeaway is simple. There is no active military draft in the United States today. President Trump did not reinstate mandatory military service. The recent changes involved the administrative operation of the Selective Service System rather than activating a national draft. So once again, I think we all got, or at least I did, I got taken in by a bit of misinformation that was put out in our media. And so I hope, in case you were one like me that got taken in by that, I hope this clarifies the issue for you. So thank you very much.
Okay, Elgato, I see you're back.
I'm back, but you can't see me. I don't.
That's okay. That's okay. We've had an interesting couple of comments I'll post. Whether you can you see the screen or do you see nothing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can.
Okay. Well, here you go. This is a little comment that should give you a little chuckle. That Dale's alias as a crime fighter superhero Elgato. So you're now a crime fighter superhero.
Is that right?
I just thought I'd show that up. You're getting good comments, so maybe you ought to always appear this way.
Maybe I ought to just stay with this, huh?
Yeah, Elgato.
I think in order to correct this, if I understand what it's telling me to do, I have to leave the broadcast and go into my software on this camera and run something. So it's just kind of frustrating.
Just not possible. Yeah, we'll I'll leave you as Elgato, and we'll just we can finish up with that tonight. That's not a problem.
You want to continue on just with me as Elgato?
Yeah, people will get it, and like I said, maybe it'll actually go viral.
Well, okay. I've got. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's take a look here at. We got a Dave's Daily Dose. This is from our friend up in Minnesota, David Punt, the COS State Director in Minnesota. He does these series on Dave's Daily Dose. So let's see what he has sent us this time. Okay.
Sounds good. Yep.
Okay. I'm just like everybody else, troubled by what has been said, but even more troubled by what has not been said. Xi supposedly said that Taiwan was on his mind a lot, and China still considers the island nation 1,300 miles off his coast his nation's appendage, like a phantom leg blown off by war that still itches. But things have changed, sort of. This is Dave's Daily Dose on BrokenRoadRadio.com. I'm David Allen Punt. The United States' one China policy from the Carter years has been that Taiwan is a part of China, but encourages the two to stay at arm's length and maintain a peaceful distance. Before that, Harry Truman said the one China policy would be that the U.S. would wait to see if China moved on Taiwan, and if it did, would do nothing to stop them. Then the Korean War broke out, and things get messy. Since, there has been the Taiwan Relations Act of 1979, which said the United States hangs on to its capacity to resist forms of coercion against the island. Then President Reagan got involved and announced 6 assurances that we would continue to sell Taiwan weapons, but slowly dwindled those sales down to nothing. Then the 119th Congress last year got involved and passed resolutions that resulted in continuing Resolution 8 that the president should abandon the one China policy, recognize Taiwan as an independent nation, that is not a part of China. And there we have it, I guess. From what I can see, the U.S. and Taiwan do not have diplomatic relations yet. What they do have is a really close friendship. More specifically, they have a robust, multifaceted, and strategically significant relationship, kind of. The troubling part is what Mr. Trump told Sean Hannity last week, that he didn't want to start a war 9,500 miles away. Meanwhile, China is expanding its influence by building runways on small islands south of the Philippines. And the Philippines, Japan, and the United States are about to start some war game maneuvers in the Philippines, 17,000 troops in all. And the Philippines has just installed a series of missile batteries, and I think they're pointed towards China or Taiwan. Independent Journalism Review reported Trump saying on Sunday that nothing's changed, that he's not looking to have somebody go independent, and then we're supposed to travel 9,500 miles to fight a war? I'm not looking for that. Taiwan is 7,900 miles from Washington, roughly. Tehran is 6,300. Maybe China is too broke to send troops into Taiwan. And maybe this whole thing will die out because China saw what Trump did to Taiwan. Or maybe we'll just ultimately get it down pumped.
Well, we're having a little bit of difficulty all the way around tonight.
We're running into some issues this evening.
The music didn't want to let him finish tonight. And while we're at it, Dale, maybe I want you to check the back of your camera. Does it say "Made in China"? I'm a little concerned.
I'll check that. Okay. Listen, I think we're encountering some issues here, folks. Ken, I think let's close it out for tonight. And I had one more piece here that I wanted to play, and I'll just hold that for next Monday. Okay.
Yeah, Susan says it's conspiracy, so we better hang up and just
must be. We better
count it a day. Yeah, so
better get out of here while we can. I do want to say this, that if anyone's got any comments or questions about our program tonight, drop us an email at raiseyourvoicecos@gmail.com. That's raiseyourvoicecos@gmail.com. So Ken, with that said, I think we'll just close her out here for the evening. I want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. I think we had a good program up until right here at the end. My fault with the camera.
That's all right. It produced a little levity, Dale, and I think a little levity is always good.
You're right. You're right there. So listen, everyone, thank you very much for tuning in. We got a good show planned for next Monday. So I definitely want everyone to tune in. Ken, do we have any comments or questions from our viewers that we want to show?
No, not other than what I posted and what we've talked about here. We're pretty much in the clear on those comments for now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So
all right. Well,
I will add for those that are viewing and that see it later in the recorded section, hit that like, subscribe, and follow button.
Good. All right, folks. Well, we'll close it out here. Everyone, have a good evening. See you again next Monday evening. Good night, everyone.
Good night, Elgato.
Marengo Mike here with a reminder of the importance of this year as we continue to grow the grassroots army of volunteers and the mission of using the Constitution to fix the ills of our government. Use the QR code if you haven't signed the petition and consider using your talents to become an active volunteer.